We should all think and believe what we believe based on our life experiences and how we perceive them. And just because somebody believes something that is much different than what I believe, that doesn't make them wrong.
Yeah.
In other words, and I think maybe what we're lacking in a society is everybody thinks they have the answers, as opposed to meeting in the middle and finding the answers.
Yeah.
You know, and finding ways to move forward, because nobody's ever going to get along. Successful marriages, which I have, are done on compromise.
Yeah.
But you mentioned empathy. I like to think of myself as somebody who cares more about who I'm talking to than I do myself. And I think if I wasn't always that way, we all go through selfish periods.
Yeah.
But I have found life is best when you're helping others. Life is best when you're learning about others. And therefore, I just kind of skate through my life thinking I've got a whole lot more to learn. And the more I know, the less I know in that respect, because the more I've got to find out.
Yeah.
I will tell you this, I'm much more inclusive, much less judgmental than I was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And I don't know that that's necessarily true of a lot of people, but I think I'm that way because my world has not shrunk.
Yes, that's a great point.
In other words, I am still around lots of different age groups. I'm around lots of people who encourage me to continue to think and grow. So it's just not the profession, it's the kind of people I've surrounded myself with.
Yeah.
And the fact that I'm still excited about life in general. I don't, you know, I don't think the best is behind.
Yeah.
I think the best is ahead.
Yeah.
And I surround myself with stuff from the past because there are a lot of things I love about memories.
Yeah.
I mean, they make up who your life is right now, but I wouldn't want to live in the past.
Yeah.
I love the styles from the 1940s. Gosh, I love the cut of the suits. I love when women wore hats. I mean, you know, all of those things.
Yeah.
I love that style.
Yeah.
Would never want to live there.
Yeah.
That was a time of segregation. It was a time of a lot of narrow thinking. It was a time when people didn't have near the rights they had. Hey, it was a time without air conditioning.
I know.
I got to have air conditioning. So I want to live in the present, and I want to look to the future.
Yeah.
And so, whereas as much as I like styles from certain periods, I don't want to live them.
Yeah.
I want to write about them, but if you read In the President's Service, it's a book about the 1940s, but it's also a book about today.
Yeah.
And that's and the flip side of that is one of the reasons I like Star Trek. Is Star Trek has always been science fiction, the future, but all of the writers have always examined problems that were going on in the original Star Trek in the 1960s, in the modern Star Trek in the 2020s.
Yeah.
We are examining issues through the lens of science fiction.
Yeah.
And I'm essentially examining current issues through the lens of historical fiction a lot of times.